My name is Keely Morey, and I'm a student at West Texas A&M University. Today I'll be discussing the book Data versus Democracy by Kris Shaffer. This book dives into how social media has changed information sharing. It also describes how false information can affect the stability of societies around the world. Shaffer explains that our brains can process a limited amount of data in an information-rich setting. Unfortunately, this can prime us to be deceived by online propaganda, which is difficult to detect and can be very easy to agree with, especially when it's delivered through algorithms that confirm existing biases. Recently, propaganda levied by government agents against other countries' democratic processes have undermined election results and spread disruption. As a user of social media, I've seen disinformation and noticed how algorithms shape the type of content that I see. I agree with Shaffer's assessment that repeat exposure to content can cause us to accept information at face value, whether it's true or not. There's simply no way to verify all of the content that we see. Nenadić explains there are other factors making us vulnerable to disinformation. Media literacy, political context, legal safeguards for free speech, and the free status of journalists and mass media producers are among these factors. I agree we can combat propaganda by first creating awareness of the problem among its users. Shaffer discusses the importance of media literacy, and this is something I agree is key. Vinton Cerf advocates for the creation of friction to slow the absorption of fast-moving information online. He points to the approach taken in Finland to encourage critical thinking by advising citizens to ask questions and to seek evidence to verify content. Of course, being able to seek out more evidence means information must be readily available to the public, and this is an argument I think Shaffer missed. There are many autocratic governments which seek to conceal or distort information about current and historical events. M. Connor Sullivan advocates that librarians can combat disinformation by promoting verifiable sources of information and fighting to maintain open access to literature and reports. This type of activism can effectively support critical thinking online. Shaffer also encourages removal of disinformation. While I don't disagree, I think there's a fine line between removing propaganda and censorship. We must maintain every individual's right to free speech, while at the same time calling out deceptive information. Unfortunately, I feel the term fake news has evolved during the Trump administration to mislabel any truth as fake because it doesn't align with our own personal political views. We must make it known what disinformation really is and why it's dangerous to our democratic processes before we can really move forward in removing disinformation. There are many ways social media platforms can encourage critical thinking without removing free speech. Nenadić described the European approach to combating disinformation by calling on social media sites to stop micro-targeting voters and to label paid advertising that relates to political or social issues. Shaffer stresses that ads reinforce our biases and are more likely to stick even after they're corrected. When information sources only present views from one side of the political aisle, I believe it's impossible for voters to visit the polls with a well-rounded understanding of critical issues. It will be interesting to see how disinformation is tackled in the future by social media. Just as Verificado 2018 was used to help fact-check stories, I'm hopeful that there will be more changes made in the future to protect democracy against attempts to spread disinformation intentionally. The discussion of politics plays an important role in our society, and rather than hide from arguments, I hope that users can engage in meaningful conversations online. However, each person must first understand their duty to evaluate content before allowing it to influence their opinion or to be shared further online. Overall, this book gives room for reflection on our social media use and the damage that disinformation can cause if we're not vigilant in protecting the truth.